Well, before we start getting into the details of this painting, I have to say a few words about the origins, how we came to this idea. I was approached by the management of this fine company to somehow commemorate, the kind of important basic event in the life of the corporation, namely having an innovative, engineeringly oriented, hands-on kind of headman, a leader, and a very supporting wife who is really the kind of engine of everything, a very dynamic one. So this kind of dynamic duo is in the center of the painting, and they are characterized as far as their contributions are concerned. You see, this is Tom, who is showing basically the same kind of chisel, what you see in here, how it operates, to a very observing foreman who is going to take notes. You don't see him, you see just his arm. Incidentally, the painting is not ready. It is a 3/4 finished painting, and then she is joined by Joyce, the wife, who is serving coffee, and then she has a bunch of paper under her arm, which is going to show here the United Way emblem, here not yet there, because both of them, they contribute a great deal to this organization among quite a few others. The setting is the, I don't know what is the official name, a kind of demonstrative or the teaching shop of the corporation with different kinds of machinery. Here is one, this belongs to this one, this is a real major one, there is a third one. Of course, I don't show everything, there are quite a few others scattered around. And here are the tools of the trade, which I studied in detail, as you can see in here, including the authentic cups. I'm sorry, I prefer this one. There is a certain action in here. As you see, the chief actors, the chief protagonists are directly facing us, but there are quite a few people who do not do this. This is a rather slick corporate person who is, of course, you can see beautiful ring, cufflinks, stripes, and the kind of nice little album. He is pulling out. He realizes that this is not the kind of thing where he would feel too comfortable. Whatever he leaves behind is this, a crumpled piece of napkin. Whereas the others, who are indeed feeling comfortable, are going about their job. It's kind of adjusting the computer, figuring here out something, or taking notes. There are two others which are at this moment faceless, in the most literal sense of the word. They are not yet admitted to that kind of exclusive circle. They are casting longing eyes to get into here. Now, before one arrives at a big composition like this, there are all kinds of ideas, and this was the first one. I don't know how well you can see this. This is Joyce in here, but dressed in a blue outfit. This is Tom, and this is the foreman, which has been reduced to this one, and he is discussing rather in kind of animated tones something which is sketched out on a piece of paper, whereas Joyce tries to interrupt them by offering coffee and a donut. You can see this here. Otherwise, the background is basically the same. Well, somehow this was not 100% successful. So step number 2 was that I superimposed on this composition a different action. The foreman as such disappeared. Here are the remnants of his hands, but you see here a marble tombstone is catching all the attention of Tom, who is using some kind of instrument which is in connection with this. Joyce is now getting into a big box and fishes out donuts, which of course didn't hold back the corporate guy to pull out. The rest remained the same. Well, I was informed that actually the corporation has very little to do with stone cutting as such. They are not manufacturing tombstones. What they do, they manufacture machinery, which is working on the stones. So then I came up with the final version, and you see this is a relatively small scale sketch. Basically the same people are here, the foreman. Now you see here, the chisel is still hitting the table, and here is the granite block. In the final version, they found each other. Then you see what happened. There was a box of donuts here. What happened to those? Well, they have been kicked out, and you see there are nowhere. Otherwise, everything is more or less the same, except this central figure here is nowhere again here, because I somehow realized that if I interpose another figure in here, somehow the attention which should be exclusively focused on those two is somehow getting lost. What is this ghost image in here? Well, this is what this is. There is supposed to be a big saw and a cover of a saw or something like that, which was usually casually put there, and it moved all over the place around. So we decided to take this thing out, and this is already halfway taken out. Another paint layer, and the whole thing is totally disappearing. That kind of spring-like feeling is going to be increased in here. Otherwise, the composition is basically ready to go. Now, just to get at this point, first to this, and of course to this, took us about a 2-month period. All right, a little challenge here. I had to create Tom's figure on the basis of this photo, which is nicely truncated, as you can see in here. So I had to use my imagination, your imagination too, to get this rather complex movement going. Plus, she very rarely wears black, so I promoted him to a kind of elegant designer polo shirt, basically with a kind of gold general color with dark green accents. And of course, she is wearing a rather solid red dress. And the basis for this was this one. The poor baby became a coffee can, the other baby is not held by hands, but it is, became the coffee cup. So the challenge was to create something which looked very natural, that this is something what happens every day. Don't worry, it never happened. These people were never posing for me, so this is pure imagination. But this was the function of art all the time, to render an ideal world as if it would be the real. So I think perhaps I got some mileage out of this. There are some other references here. For example, this fine gentleman is modeled on this one, and this group of 2 people who are coming in and checking on the operation is something like this. Of course, there are some kind of modifications going on. If anybody is interested where this is coming from, well, here we are. Again, I recomposed a little bit. This is a little bit more more dignified pose than this playing, this kind of hopscotching around, so this is much more kind of elegant. Well, that much about the challenges and what shall I say, the joys and And the sorrows, well, so far I don't see too much sorrow, except, this has to be finished by a deadline, and then all these things have to be cleaned up. You see there is a chair here coming, but it is in a kind of ghostly manner, so this has to come in. Lots of nice details cleaned up. Then we have to have a kind of general sense of radiation. That there is a uplifting, sunshine-ish mood to the painting. It's not a kind of bleak industrial scene. It is an oil painting, and I don't know exactly the measurements, but it looks like 5 by 4 easily. So it is a kind of rather big thing. And even so, you see the figures are, in comparison to the total surface of the painting, are relatively small, because it is not only them, but that kind of total feeling of space is there. I took a few artistic freedoms. For example, I composed this. Actually, the upper part would be something like this, except I didn't like this ending, so like a composer, I put a new finale to the symphony, and the new finale is this. You can see this here. I am about deadly sure that there is no tool like this in the industry, but it looks convincing, and this is what an artist has to do. Again, you see these nice little things, they are coming back here. So I tried to create a kind of rather authentic thing that for somebody who is not in the industry, this should really strike them as a kind of very respectable machine room. Well, as I said before, this is not ready yet. I wish we could have done this later, but now I have to really start stepping on the gas and finish it by deadline. Okay, thank you very much. Oil painting before varnishing has this kind of dead, this is so dead in here, and these shadows in the red. So what one has to do is this. See that? This would be the effect of the varnish. See? This is that kind of wet look. See that? It's totally, it has to look like this, and not what it looks like right now. Well, the same thing in here. I see that? Can you see how beautiful this is? Okay. See? See that? It is still not 100% dry. Should not come off at all, it should be. The name shows here. Yes, you get a little. Well, it is something, how to make something out of nothing, because I was given 2 little photos, 2 snapshots, and I had to compose a story around those, and of course I was assisted by all those people who knew what was going on, but somebody had to write the screenplay, so to speak, because this is really a kind of screenplay, it is going to the theater, and watching one act, so it's a kind of action painting, so it's not the kind of ordinary thing, where you just line up 2-3 people who are next to each other and smile, and then it's over, but it is it has a past, a present, and a future, so it's it tries to give a kind of final meaning of what this particular corporation is about.